Welcome to WVTC TV Network, capturing family moments in real time, bringing families closer together from the comforts of home. We are unleashing something different to the world. Start your subscription today for the low price of $4.99 per month or $55 annually. Go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com to sign up today. WVTC TV Network is streaming live on 8 different platforms. You can easily download the WVTC TV Network app on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku, Fire TV, and more. Here at WVTC TV, we have access to movies that everyone can enjoy, including independent films, Sons of a Preacher and a Good Thing, Treasures of Life, the epic drama, The Passion of the Christ, and the box office hit Madagascar Escape to Africa. Remember, go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com and sign up today.
Good evening. I am Edward Jones.
And I am Latanya Jones.
And this is Phamily Phirst. This is the Phamily Phirst podcast where we're going to come to you and we're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about relationships, children, talk about some ministry, and maybe sometimes just talk about nothing at all. And so we thank you for being here on our maiden voyage here on WVTC. All right. So we're here. We're talking about family first and family being first. Why do we name this podcast Family First? Well, first of all, we named it Family First because we believe family is before everything. Family is before jobs, it's before ministry, it's before anything else. Family comes first. But also, there's a really interesting way how we spelled family, right?
Yeah.
We did it with the PH, Family First. That is a nod to our membership in our Greek letter organizations. I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and my wife is a member of
Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
And we are the first family. Forget what you heard about anybody else, about the other ones. You know, the alphas and the AKAs, they got their nice relationship, and the omegas and the deltas, they got some Coleman love going on.
Yep.
But there's only one constitutionally bound relationship between fraternity and sorority, and that is us, First Family, the First Family. And we wanted to bring some of that into our discussions because part of our relationship with our organizations, it mirrors our relationship with one another. We do things together, we do things separately, but I am excited that we get to be here and let people look into the Jones household and how we go about things of that nature. So let's talk a little bit about our backgrounds and say what makes them eligible to talk about family and all of that stuff. What makes us qualified, quote unquote qualified? What makes us qualified?
Well, we have been married for 22 years. Come January the 11th.
Yes, this Saturday we'll be married 22 years.
22 years. So along with being married for 22 years, we have 5 children. So we have 2 sets of twins.
Mercy. Yeah, that's all your fault. We'll have another
right. So 2 sets of twins. So of course, we have our oldest daughter. She is 21 now. My goodness.
Yeah.
And then we have, and she's a soror. She's a Zeta as well at North Carolina A&T University. So then we also have our twin boys. They are 19. And then we have our twin girls, Jackie and Jocelyn, and they are 12.
Yeah. Wow.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting big
They're getting too big too fast. So yeah.
So, and also, I've been in ministry for 30 years of 30 years of ministry, along with my background in social service, human services, um, and with my master divinity, and then working on a doctorate now. You are a clinician by education. You have your master's degree in counseling psychology, soon to be a doctor of marriage and family therapist.
Yes,
student.
that is coming.
Yeah, so we are excited about bringing all of that in, our practical experience, our ministry experience, our experience of how we're doing things with our church. We are the leaders of Grace Missionary Baptist Church in Markham, Illinois, on the corner of 167th and Pulaski. We call ourselves the Grace Station.
Yes.
Come in on Sunday to get filled up with the grace that you need for the rest of the week. We are transforming lives
and building the
kingdom. And we do that by grace. We do it by grace. And we have an acronym for grace. G is for giving. We believe in giving of our time, our talents, and our treasures. We're reaching church. We reach out to one another in brotherly love. We're an adoring church. We adore the Lord in worship. We're a caring church. We care about the needs of our community. And then finally, we're an evangelizing church. We are telling a lost world about a risen Savior. So that is how we are and what we are in terms of our background. And so if you have any questions, we want to hear from you in our conversation. Like I said, we're going to talk to each other, and you are welcome to listen in and join in whenever you feel like. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, because it's been so big on social media over these last couple of days, the situation that happened in Virginia, which is weird because our son is a student at Hampton University, not too far from where the situation happened, where the young lady was brought before, was made to come before the church and to apologize for being pregnant without being married. And you and I, we sat and we talked about that, and both of our hearts were broken, very sad about the situation. And we began to talk about how we felt that, this young lady was failed on so many levels, and how we think about that. And so what I want you to do, I want you as a mom, thinking about your daughter, if that was our daughter, take off pastor hat, take off first lady hat, but mom hat. Tell me how that felt as a mom, and what you think about that.
Wow. Just as a mother, my heart was just broken because I love my children, all of my children. I know what they will do, what they won't do. But even when they make a mistake or do something that maybe they're not supposed to do, it's my job to still cover them and protect them. That's my job. And so I just felt like in this situation, where's her covering? Who's protecting her? Who's looking out for her best interest? It was one thing that this was done in the church in front of everybody, but then this was streamed and televised. So not only just people in the church saw it, but people just in the world saw it. So who's covering? Who's protecting her? And so I felt really bad just as a mom, because I know how I am with my children and how I protect them and how I cover them. And not saying that that even if they do something wrong, that I turn a deaf ear to it. No, not at all. But at the same time, being able to say, hey, showing compassion, there was no compassion, there was no love, there was nothing there. So I just felt horrible for that young lady.
And the thing that was crazy about it in the aftermath, and so there's been some follow-up because people wanted to know about the church. People went to the church. I don't condone them people going to the church because that's their church. But the young lady's mother made a post like, this was, she's fine. You're disturbing my peace, about it, and like she brought her child up in that, and so like the mom almost saw nothing wrong with it. And sometimes when you're in those dysfunctional situations and you don't realize that it's dysfunctional, things that are right or functional seems out of place to you. So as a dad, I'm thinking if this is my daughter, me and the pastor and the rest of the church gonna have to have a conversation. Well, first of all, if it was my daughter, I would have never allowed her to go. This is not necessary. If this is what it means to be a part of a community, then this is this ain't the place for us. It's not the place for you. It's not the place for us. And what was so harmful to me was the part where he says, okay, yeah, she committed a sin, and then she says, ain't no baby showers. And none of y'all that are here, none of y'all better go to a baby shower. You lose out on that privilege. And that is so hurtful. It is so toxic. It is so anti-Christ. And we talk about what is of God and what is not. That posture is an anti-Christ posture. This child did nothing to come here. We are grateful that she didn't decide, you know what, I'm going to abort this baby. She said, I'm going to have this baby. We're going to, this is a blessing. It was not intended. I committed a sin or whatnot.
And think about how difficult it was for her to even come forward to share that with her mom, let alone share that with the whole world. Like, this is something that's private.
And it hurt me. And then he said, don't touch the table. It's a communion table. Don't touch the table. That once again, I believe is steeped, and this is a whole nother conversation, steeped in bad theology. And I say this all the time because people can proof text just about anything, to what the Bible says. But a lot of people know what the Bible says.
They don't know what it means.
But a lot of people don't know what it means. And so if you can quote a scripture, but you really don't know what it means, you can do more harm than good. And this is a situation, I believe, that these young people, this young lady, did more harm than good. And so on the flip side, I don't condone the individuals that were not part of that church going to that church to cause any type of fracas or disturbance or anything like that. And the other part of it is they know that that's the kind of church they're a part of. And that kind of goes with it. So it's kind of hard for us to judge from the outside. I look at it from if this was me as a dad, as a pastor, as a leader, my perspective is different. If we have someone, we've had young people at our church that have gotten pregnant or have children without being married. We love them. We encourage them. The child is a blessing. Regardless of how the child got here, the child is a blessing. And we have to learn how to extend grace. You know what? We all want to be the recipients of grace.
We don't know how to extend it.
But we don't know how to extend it. And so we have to learn that. And as parents, we got to really learn how to know how to do that. I'm thinking about what just happened yesterday. with Joshua.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so yesterday we sent our twin boys back to college. Joshua back to Hampton University. Jonathan taking the semester off to do basic training. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing the reserve for doing basic training before he goes back to school. We sent them both off yesterday, and Joshua gets he gets on his train back to Hampton, and he texts me, "Dad, I'm sorry. Dad, I'm sorry." I'm like, "You're sorry for what? What are you sorry for?" Dad, I left my bag in the station. I'm on the train. I left my bag. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So we have to. So I'm thinking, what?
Are you thinking?
What are you thinking? What were you doing that you were so caught up,
Right,
that you could get on a train, going to your destination without your backpack, without your MacBook, without the things that I gave you that I wanted you to, and it's like, are you sure you're my child? Are you sure? Are you
right,
sure? Are you
right,
sure?
right.
But I said, but he's a good kid. And so what we have to do is we have to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Have to fill in the gaps. So you know what I did? What did I do? I got in
Went
that
picked it
car,
up.
and I'm low flying, trying to get downtown from the south suburbs to get to the train station. And I get there because you never know what they think when they see a backpack. They think it's a bomb. Nowadays, nothing is safe. And I asked a police officer, my son was just here, got on the train about an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody turned in a backpack? He says, well, somebody just brought one up. We told him to go to the lost and found.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the lost and found, and I say, excuse me, police told me that someone just brought a backpack over here to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's my son's. It has a MacBook in it and a Miles Monroe book. I gave my son a Miles Monroe book. I think every young man needs to read Understanding Your Potential by Miles Monroe. And I have some young men at the church, my twin boys and a couple of the other young men at the church, plus my daughter's friend, Lord have mercy, reading that book because I think it's so foundational to the purpose as a young man. And I said, well, that's in the backpack. The man goes to get the backpack. He unzips the backpack. And what's there? A MacBook
Mm-hmm.
and a Miles Monroe book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. Thank you for my bag. And he does not hand me the backpack. he says there's a policy. There are policies that you have to be able to unlock the computer. I said, unlock the computer. The computer's dead and it doesn't have a charger in it. I just told you what was in the bag.
Yeah, my goodness.
But I went through a whole rigmarole for another 45 minutes. I'm not going to bore everybody with it. But we did that for 45 minutes to get the backpack. Why? Because my son did not pay attention. He got distracted and didn't do what he's supposed to. But did I call him and say, Josh, I finally got it, and I'm not gonna send it to you, or you in trouble, or no. Hey, son, he called, Dad, I'm sorry. Yeah, son, no problem. And the manager of the Lost and Found said something that was so profound, and it's just hitting me now. Because he said, Dad, I'm so sorry, and I said, son, no problem, son. Mm-hmm. And but he said that was the nicest thing to say. Yeah. He said because it was his problem that you made your problem. And he's the one that messed up, but you made it your problem. You're the one that's going through all the rigmarole of trying to get it back. He's on a train. And you made it your problem. And what we need to do as parents, as friends, as loved ones, as I think about the young lady that we were talking about, we need to make others' problems our problems. she's already feeling beat down. She's already feeling discouraged. She's already thinking about her, her future and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Bible talks about, bearing one
Another's
another's
burdens.
burdens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what marriage is about. That's what relationships
About.
are about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't believe in, you believe in 50-50 relationships?
I don't see how that's possible.
No, I don't think, because
No
sometimes
50-50 love
there's
here.
no 50-50, there's no 50-50, because sometimes the best that I got is 30%.
Mm-hmm.
And you make up the difference with the 70.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the best you got is 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to come up with that 90.
Yep.
But that's what being in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but when family comes first,
Mm-hmm.
nothing else matters, and you do what it takes to make up the difference
Mm-hmm.
in those things. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something that we were talking about prior to today. It's like you get it hot off the press. We were just talking about it, and I thought it would be very
Yeah.
applicable in our conversation on today. Uh, on Thursday, since we're talking about family first, this Thursday is the Founders Day for Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And next Thursday, um, after our next broadcast, will be the Founders Day of Zeta Phi Beta. Let's how does our interest in our working in our different organizations, how do you think that helps our relationship? And what in our relationship do we take into our organizations and work and ministry like that? But how do you think it, being a part of our organizations, how do you think it helps our relationship?
Um, I think what's so awesome about our organizations is that we're able to do everything together.
Mhm.
I'm able to do it with my children. I'm able to do it with just about anybody because we can all work and serve together. We do a lot of service in the community. And so whether we're doing something at a food pantry, doing something where we're making blankets, anything like that, we're doing something and my whole family can participate with that. And it just allows for us to be able to get family time and time with each other, but then teaching them, especially teaching the children the importance of being able to give back. It's not just about you.
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful for that because as the kids are growing up, that's what they saw. They saw weekends, a Saturday, we going to a service event. Oh, this is what we're doing. So they understood being able to give back to their communities, that it's not just about give me, give me, give me, give me, and this is what I want and all about mine, but it's about, okay, I can give to someone else and be a blessing to someone else. So to hear, especially the boys, they were part of the Sigma Beta Club since they were 7 years old. And to hear them now, they're in college. Oh, service? No problem. This is what I do. It's normal, it's natural.
Yeah.
Because they grew up in it. Same thing for the girls. They grew up in doing service. So it's so natural to have to do any type of community service project. It's not anything foreign to them because this is what they grew up seeing. And so to me, just being a part of the Blue and White family, our organizations, that is the blessing. Because they take that with them everywhere they go.
Yeah.
It's just a part of them.
Yeah, it's interesting and the other piece for me is the academic piece. And they realize that we're surrounded by college educated people, and we're able to do this. We're able to join because of education, and if you want to do it when you grow up, you got to go to college. You got to do this, and it puts something in front of them that will help them. But I agree with you. With the service piece, it helps create children that are not selfish, and that's so foreign to us in society nowadays. We got some of the most spoiled children ever.
My goodness.
You remember when we grew up and you went to the grocery store, don't you touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, because you're not gonna get nothing. And you thought that was,
that was it.
If you did ask, you was gonna die.
You was gonna get in trouble.
Right. Nowadays, young people, they expect, if we go into the store, it must be for me. I must be getting something. And I believe that putting them in position to serve really helps develop their character.
Absolutely.
And it makes them helpful. I wish they would, do better with their chores at home, but that's a whole
that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story. But
also too, just another thought. I think the other thing that's great is that they're surrounded by men and women who have so many gifts and talents.
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, police officers, judges.
Yeah.
And so if there's anything that they want to know and learn or pattern themselves after, they have someone that they can talk to that can mentor and guide them into that. So I think, again, that's another blessing into that.
Yeah. So people might say, why is this important? Why are you talking about this? Because as parents, it's our responsibility to expose our children, to give them exposure. When we've quoted so often, train up a child in a way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from him. And we've used that to mean take your child to church. Make sure the church, when they go to church, they, and they might stray away, but eventually they're gonna come back to the Lord. Yeah, we're gonna apply that, but that's not what it means. Once again, it's what it means, that you put as much stuff in front of them, and you find out what their proclivities are. You find out what they're interested in. You find out what their gifts are, and then once you find out what they're gifted in, you push them in that thing and you help them. And so, us being part of these organizations, it helps us train them up in the way that they should go. Of all of our 3 college kids, we got 3 college kids. All 3 of them have different paths. Yeah, and we're pushed, and we push all 3 of them into different directions. 3 of them in college, 3 different universities. Yes. Who does that, right? Yeah, because they all got their 3 different 3 different routes. Yeah, and so and one of them is close. I see my friend Tyrone Tyson is on, and one of them is down there near Tyrone in North Carolina. Yeah, and so he's a great pastor down there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And so we send our children to a whole different things, but that's part of parenting that we had to learn. You know what? Our children can't be what we want them to be. Yeah, they're what they want to be, but it's our job to encourage them, to guide them, to prune them when they need to. They're going to grow, but we just got to make sure that they grow in the direction that they need. And when
they do make mistakes, let them know that it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. When I think back when I was young, and even just the young lady when I was her age, mistakes, that I made, I wish that there was someone there to say, it's okay. You can rebound from this. You can make it. There's still life ahead for you. And so wishing that. So I've always wanted to be that for my children, that, hey, we know you're not perfect. We know you're going to make mistakes. Yeah. And we're here regardless. Yeah. But I think when you think about our Father, how God is with us, how God shows compassion, He shows mercy, He shows grace. Yeah. He didn't discard us when we messed up. Right.
I'm so grateful.
Right? So if God is that way with us, how can we be anything different how can we treat our children differently? I think just being a parent, it helps me to understand a little bit. You know, how, but God gave his son for us.
Right. Yeah.
And he showed us how much he loved us. Right. So we should always, just as parents, but even just as a church, as Christian people, compassion, love, grace, mercy. That has to be there. And I think that when we especially are trying to parent our children with that mindset, it's a blessing for them, because then when they become parents, right? And they're having to parent the next generation. They know how to with grace. They know how to extend grace because they've received it.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. Once again, it goes back to what I was saying, that we all want to be the recipient of grace, but we always don't want to extend it, and not just with our children, but even with each other. I believe that a lot of relationships end because we don't know how to extend grace to one another. All of us, we have short fuses. We've taken this attitude that ain't nobody gonna disrespect me, or we get in our feelings too fast, and we have an elevated view of ourselves. And if anybody doesn't treat us like God's gift to the world, then they ain't for me. Yeah, I'm cut them off. I'm gonna cut them off. I'm gonna cut them off. And I think that is something that we need to get back to, of learning how to extend grace to one another. I can think of a million times. We've been married 22 years, and I can probably think of a million times per day that you've had to extend grace to me. And in all seriousness, we made the decision that we weren't going nowhere. What's the old saying? You get tired of me, go take a nap.
Go take a nap.
Because I'm not going nowhere. You not going nowhere. We not going nowhere. But we've learned how to extend grace to one another. We've learned we've learned that it's not our job it's not my job to find happiness in you or joy in you. You can't provide it. You're human. You have a finite capacity. And I can't be the end all for you. Right. It comes from God. Now, God can use me to bring some happiness, some joy into your life. Right. But I cannot be the source. Right. And because that, you don't have an unrealistic expectation of me. And so that's something that we've learned through the years, is that to extend grace to one another. But the other thing that we've learned, and I think I might like it more than you, but we've learned to laugh at one another.
Oh yeah.
We learned to laugh at ourselves. We learned to laugh at ourselves, and then we've learned to laugh with and at each other. Yes, I laugh at my wife. Yes,
it does.
I laugh at her. She laughs at me. She laughs at
too
me.
much.
and we laugh, and there's a joy in it. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
It's regardless of how serious a situation is, regardless of how dire. We always try to find a little bit of levity, maybe not right then, but down after we look back. Man, that was funny. It wasn't. You didn't think it was funny then, but it is hilarious.
Yes.
And it's the same, like I said, the same thing with life, you know.
And our
No,
kids
yeah.
too.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. Our kids, yeah.
Yeah.
They provide a lot of humor. Um, and they can laugh afterwards, especially they got fussed out,
Oh, yeah.
and then they can come back and laugh.
Oh, the best part is when they laugh at each other after
Yeah.
one of them get, and having twins, it's the best. It's the
Yeah.
best thing ever.
Oh yeah.
Because when one twin gets it and the other one is making fun of them or laughing, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
that is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
There is never when all five of them were at home, there was
Never
never
a
a
dull
dull day.
moment.
There's
Mm-mm.
never a dull
Mm-mm.
moment. It's kind of different now. It's just the two, just the girls, the twins at home now. But they get out of. They've learned well from their big brothers and sister.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to laugh at one another, make jokes
Mm-hmm.
at one another. So baby said, so they can't be mad at me. I just told the people that I laugh at you. So you can't get mad if I laugh.
Yeah.
If I crack a joke
Yeah.
on you, you can't get mad because we just told the people that we laugh.
That's
All right.
it.
But we have to and sometimes we laugh to keep from choking them. Can I say
Yeah.
that? Can I say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. It's
But
okay.
okay, well, you know what I mean. It was figurative. It was choking. It wasn't. It's choking. Okay. Uh, but we have to laugh. Uh, I remember. Um, this is one of those situations where we gotta laugh. We get a kick out of it now. You know what story I'm gonna tell. Uh, when we didn't have five, we only had three, and the three were all in diapers at the same time. And we were living. This is when we were living in California.
Oh, I know the
Yeah,
story.
you notice exactly what story I'm about to tell.
Ooh.
And uh, we didn't always. I don't know if y'all remember. We didn't always have flat screen TVs, the big flat screens. We used to have those big screen TVs with the big backs, the big tubes in them. I used to have a big floor model, big screen TV when the children were little, and the boys were in their crib, and um, Jasmine, who's in diapers at this time. And I'm telling the story. Yes, Jasmine, if you're watching, yes, I'm gonna tell the story because everybody needs to know the trauma you caused your father and laugh. Okay, because it's funny now. It wasn't funny then. Uh, but Jasmine, who was in diapers at the
Mm-hmm.
time, uh, came um, to us in the hallway. I think it was in the hallway. Yeah, it was in the hallway, and it looked like her hands were full of chocolate,
Yeah.
but her it wasn't chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
It was that other brown stuff that's usually in diapers.
Oh yeah.
It was all over her hands, and and I and she's walking from the living room, and I said, "What are you doing in the living room with chocolate hands?" And I'll never forget, you went into the living room and you turned right back around and said, "Don't go in there."
Yeah.
I said, "What you mean don't go in there? What do you mean don't go in there? Don't go in there." I went in there, and all across my big old flat screen TV were streaks from the hands from where the chocolate that wasn't chocolate was all over my television.
Mm-mm-mm.
I can laugh now. I couldn't laugh then. It was
Oh.
difficult
Yes, it
to
was.
laugh then. Lord have mercy. I said, Lord, you didn't tell me this was going to be a part of being a daddy.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And you stepped in, said, "I'll clean it up. I got it. Don't worry about it. Don't got it. You just go in the other room, just relax." But uh, that now I crack up.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed at it because it is so typical of a household that has a whole lot going in. going on in it, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And how different people step in to do whatever, and you were being the protective mama and
Mm-hmm.
loving wife at the same time. She's okay. I love my husband, but I can't let him kill my daughter, and and uh, I love my daughter. She knows she's wrong for that, but she really don't understand what she did. But I think she understood what she was did. But I can't really get her because she
Yep.
really don't know. And the boys looking around with bubble heads, they don't know what's going on. But that is those are the stories
Mm-hmm.
that we share that I can't wait to tell her children. Let me tell you what your mama did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that is part
Gotta
of
laugh at
you,
them.
you laugh at them, and that creates a dynamic
Mm-hmm.
within the family. These stories, and what happens is when we forget about family,
Mm-hmm.
we don't take time to really smell the flowers of being in a family and the relationships and the things that we go on the day
Mm-hmm.
to day, and we
Yeah.
really don't pause and say, you know what, you're important to me. This, I'm glad that
Yeah.
God put you in my life, and we're family,
Mm-hmm.
and and all of that that goes along with it. I think if we got back to really putting family first,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our situations
Mm-hmm.
and will be a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
in dealing with marriage, I remember um, what we read. I can't remember if it was in a sacred marriage or something else. Um, and it said that um, marriage is not about finding the right person.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes in our relationships, we're looking for the right one.
Yeah.
We're looking for the right one. And the right one
Mm-hmm.
will pass you by if you ain't right.
That's it.
Yeah. So let's talk about um, how we prepare ourselves to be the right person. Next in our next podcast, we'll kind of talk about our story about how we got together. But before we got together, how were you preparing yourself to be the right person?
Well, it's interesting because as a young woman, I'm a church girl, grew up in a church my whole life. And so, that's something that in a way you pray for. I want a godly, when it's that time, I want a godly husband, a godly man. That's what we want, you know. Now, you don't know what you asking for when you pray that. When you pray that prayer, you really don't know what you're asking for when you pray that. And you don't realize that when you're asking for that, there is work that God is requiring of you to do.
Mm, mm,
So you just think, okay, Lord, send me this godly man. So that's a issue today for a lot of women who are looking for, and they say, well, there ain't no godly man out there. Well, he out there.
mm. Say that again.
But have, but have you done the work
Mm,
on yourself?
mm,
And so I remember one of the things that I had to do even before I met you was really working on myself, dealing with some of the issues that I had, my father issues, my mother issues, family issues, whatever those issues are, low self-esteem, all of that, my relationship with God. I had to take time to deal with that stuff.
mm,
I had to take time to deal with that stuff. Um, so there's a lot of work that you have to do within yourself before you can actually prepare yourself for a mate, because you can't even see
mm.
that person if you haven't dealt with your own stuff.
Well, you preaching that. Yeah.
But it's true. You can't even see right. Because if you are or have grown up in a traumatic situation where you've dealt with abuse, all of that is how you're going to see and perceive every person that comes across your way. Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? I was abused. I was traumatized. I grew up in a bad family situation. Is he going to be the same? Is he going to do the same? I think he's going to do that because that sense of familiarity there, triggers. And so those are things that, I realize that you have to deal with that stuff, because if you don't, when you get into your relationship, you bringing all that baggage with you. That's why they had that song Bag Lady.
Prophetess
right.
Prophetess Badu.
And Prophetess Badu, you can't hurry up because you got too much stuff.
Yeah.
You can't even, see the man because you got too much baggage that you're carrying.
Yeah.
So that is something that I would say, just in terms of a woman, being able to deal with those different things and taking that time so that you're free to be in that relationship and love that person, and that person can love you. But it's hard to do that when you haven't dealt with all that stuff.
That's good. That's good. And would you say that making the transition in your mind from tell me, yeah, and I'll put it this way. Changing your mindset from having a girlfriend mindset to a wife mindset. You don't have a wife mindset when you say I do. You have to have it before then. Or is that part of working on yourself before how you carry yourself or whatever? How is that a part of it as well?
I think it's the same. Now I will say that I was blessed. Again, I'm a church girl. So I was blessed in my time to be surrounded by older women who did not have any problem with sharing and giving of their wisdom.
That's good.
So you were able to learn, this is what it looks like. Now, understanding, and I think it's something that I kind of caught later, is that it looks a little bit different for everyone.
That's good.
So it looks different, but at least you have some examples of what it looks like to be in a healthy relationship. This is what it looks like to be a wife, to be supportive.
And you were teachable.
And I'm teachable. So I was not in the mode where I'm gonna just do me. And I'm gonna do how I'm gonna do. No, I was not in that mode. But then also asking God to show me how to be. Show me how to be. And when I was becoming a mom, I was scared. I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm responsible for a whole person. Show me how to be a good mom. Show me how to be the mom that you want me to be, how you've called me to be, how to be that person that's speaking to their life. And bring the right people around me that can help me and guide me in that. And so I think too, that's a part of it. You're not going to get everything from outside sources. A lot of that, God wants you to be able to come to him and say, show me, give me, give me the wisdom you asked for. He's going to give it to you. Yeah.
That's good, because he had to show you how to deal with me.
Yes.
I'm not no textbook.
Yes. Yes.
So that's good. So he did something very similar with me, just dealing with my junk and dealing with past hurts and past disappointments and past frustrations and past just looking at people sideways, dealing with these people that do, is it me that they want, or is it my position? Is it my anointing? What is it? And then trying to decide, what I'm ready to be responsible for another person. It's not just me. And so that is where we need to be. Deal with our own selves, deal with our junk, deal with our problems, prepare ourselves to to be a husband, to cover a wife and covering children, to provide for a woman, for a wife, provide for a child, for children, to set vision and direction for a family. Because if the family goes in the ditch, God's gonna hold me responsible. And like you, I grew up in the church and did a whole, a lot. I understood all the church stuff and saw the examples, saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, and said, okay, this is what I want, and I'm gonna put in the work to get it done. And so I think that might be a good place for us to put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Because next time we come together on a podcast, we can talk about our story, how we met, and what God did in our lives, and how it even shapes where we are even on today. And so
awesome.
That sounds like a plan.
Sounds good, sir.
All right. Well, I am Edward Jones.
I'm Latanya Jones.
Is Latanya Jones. And we believe in
Family First.
God bless you. And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Same time. Talk to you later.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.